Greetings and welcome to Channel Other Doc. I'm Jim. I use he, him pronouns, and this is the premiere of our Dark Matter campaign, Ghosts of Saltmaw. I am incredibly excited to get into this, as this is going to be this will be the first time we're actually playing using Dungeons and Dragons on this channel. It's been like a year and a half, and I haven't done it, but. We have someone coming and running it for us, so it is glorious. We're going to go around and say hi to everybody. Feel free to say who you are and who you're playing. Today I am playing Cole Hayden, a human gunslinger, and I'm going to go around starting with Anino. Hello.
How's it going, everyone? My name is Anino, and today I am playing Rek Mara, a Aviara druid.
Awesome. And now down to Cazimi. Hello.
Hi, I'm Cazimi, and today I'm playing Clangswell, Nunu, Fritz, Holdsbottom, Thunderstruck, a Star Gnome.
I briefly contemplated trying to get all of that onto the onto the overlay, but I was defeated. I'm sorry. But we're very pleased to have you with us, and now let us head over to May. Hello.
Hi everybody, I'm May. I'm playing Lasness Chain Tower. She is a Star Dwarf Paladin, going by the pronoun she, her.
Awesome. And Mem, hello.
Hello, I'm Mem. I will be playing Narita Galeen. She is a Nautilid Witch.
Excellent. And finally, I'm going to hand things off to our station master, Alyssa. Hello.
Hello everyone, my name is Alyssa. I am at Origami Shuriken on Twitter, she, her pronouns, and I play everyone else. So, as usual on this channel, we're going to be using the X card, the N card, and the O card. So if at any time we run into something that crosses a line for anyone, feel free to type an X in the Zoom chat, make an X. You can do it in the group chat or to me privately. We'll stop there, rewind, it never happened. If we start putting a toe into dark waters that we are okay having in the game, but maybe don't want a graphic description, type an N, and we will fade to black, cut to a new scene. And if at any point you need to check in with anybody, or it looks like things are getting intense, I'm not sure if everyone's okay with what's happening, I might type an O with a question mark, and if it's all good to keep pouring on the drama, go ahead and just respond with an O. If at any time things are intense but you want to go ahead and keep going, you can go ahead and proactively type an O in the chat, and we'll know it's all good to keep going. So, if there's no other housekeeping at the moment, I think we will go ahead and set the scene. We begin in a spiral galaxy, roughly 100,000 light years in diameter and nearly 10,000 light years thick. Somewhere deep within this galaxy, there is a massive skeleton of the remnants of some colossal and long extinct breed of void beast that once traveled the stars, that has since been reinforced with ancient machinery and clutching a massive portal into the void within its jaws. There is actually a network of these stations throughout the entire galaxy, allowing space travelers to perform perfectly controlled jumps between one station and another. It is on board one such station where we set our scene. Saltmaw is a spaceport in the southern region of the Likshay garrison in humanoid colonized space. And it was a formidable military presence. The Likshay forces are situated on one side of a dead zone where no magic exists, which came about due to a massive explosion of something called an arcane warhead that left a giant hole, kind of, not really a hole, but just a kind of dead zone in between the Likshay garrison and the rest of human civilization. So they have kind of been left to their defenses, caught between the dead magic zone and a war zone predominantly inhabited by orcs, with their forces focused on guarding the border between the orcish war zone and their own space. The Likshay garrison has unwittingly allowed Saltmaw Station to fall into increased neglect, and smuggling and piracy have begun to gain a foothold in the region. So, as the camera pans in to the interior of this space station, where you can find docking bays and shops and anything you might expect to find on board a space station. We're going to go around and have everyone set the scene with their characters. So I'll start with Rek Mara. What brings you to Saltmaw, and where might you be found on the space station on any given day?
So, Rek Mara is probably just arrived on the station. He recently had just left the Aviara Empire and found his way here. It was a self-imposed exile, and essentially he is looking for work and to try to get away from the Solar Citadel as much as possible.
All right, well, he's currently about as far away as one can get without actually entering the galactic frontier. So you'll probably have some luck. So we're gonna pan over to Lasness, our Star Dwarf Paladin.
Lasness has actually been at Saltmaw Station for at least one half of what would be considered a lunar cycle back on her home planet. For us, that would be about 3 weeks. She's been looking for work herself, and she has been traveling the verse for the past 43 years after having learned various different secret mysteries as part of her time working for the matriarch of the dwarven race. She's looking to defend the verse from the Maw, and sometimes, well, that's great and all, but you gotta get paid. So she's looking for any work that might have it. For now, she's kind of sitting in her favorite tavern.
All right. And then, moving on to Fritz, a newcomer to the station. What brings you here?
So, Fritz has decided to relocate to the Saltmaw area after having visited a couple of times, checking out what it's like to live in weird magic space, because Fritz, as a gnome, comes from the dead magic zone, and magic doesn't work there. I use science to do things. And this is all very interesting and new and different, and it's worth checking out because there's some things that we can't explain within the dead magic zone that may have some answers out here in the wild weird. And since there are a few gnomes in Saltmaw and a couple of people who do speak gnomish, it's as good a time as any to kind of, wet my feet in something a little bit different and start learning some new stuff. And plus, there are just so many things to collect here. Just so many different things.
So many things. And there are probably people who are equally fascinated to talk to Fritz about how you can do science without magic, because it's so baked into everything here.
Yeah, they just, they don't.
They just don't get it.
Nope.
All right. And Narita.
So Narita has been traveling the verse for quite some time, looking for any sort of novelid tomes that may have information about Poseidon solution and how it's made, what they can do to kind of recover more of it. And she's heard whispers that there is a illegal book trader of some sort who could be found at Saltmaw. So she's been here relatively a short time, and she's looking around trying to figure out how to get in touch with that person and then how to ask for it, as she's not one to usually dabble in sort of illegal activities.
Well, if there's anywhere to hear rumors, it's probably the tavern. And Mr. Cole Hayden.
Evening. Yeah, Cole is someone who is some time ago he perhaps had something to do with law enforcement, but these days he is more of a freelance agent. He's what is referred to as a freelance security agent, and sort of helps people solve problems. On some days that means just help escort me. On some days that means go be a detective. On some days that means go break somebody's legs. And he has a certain degree of what we call morality, but he also at this point is been so severely worn down by people who don't that it's very difficult to maintain. So he just goes to wherever he can find work. He tries to avoid work of the leg-breaking type, if he possibly can, because he's tired of. He does not want to hurt people, but unfortunately, causing gunplay is something that he is very good at. So it is a thing that he keeps doing for hire. So by and large, he goes to wherever. Basically, wherever people are gathered that might have work for him, job postings, things of that nature.
All right.
Hives of scum and villainy.
There it is, hives of both scum and indeed also villainy.
Well, in this particular hive of scum and or villainy, known as the local tavern, for those of you who have congregated, this center of vice and indulgence, you may have overheard some rumors of parts of the station that have been shut down for repairs, perhaps being haunted or perhaps malfunctioning in some way. There's conflicting stories. Some folks seem to think it's haunted. Some folks seem to think that would be completely illogical. But either way, there has been a bulletin put out over the PA and perhaps listed on the data panels on walls and view screens where perhaps people might be watching entertainment, about a request for a crew to go and investigate.
So Fritz is all over this for the simple fact that Fritz, besides wanting to collect all the things, that's very much just a side hobby. Fritz is very interested in fixing things. If it is broken, it needs to be fixed. Haunted isn't a thing. It's malfunctioning. So Fritz is going to check out what there is that needs to be fixed and where to go.
All right. Well,
So, Lastness overhears that and confirms it on her data pad in front of her, which she actually just uses her hand to open up, because a lot of dwarven technology went into nanotechnology and it's focused in her fingertips. So she opens that up and starts flicking through and figures ghosts. Well, why not? And she takes one last sip of her drink, sets it down, and heads off to go speak to the purveyor of this quest.
all right. For those of you interested in volunteering for this mission, you would know that you can speak to the senior member of the station council, a woman named Edda Oland. And she will most likely have some equipment and possibly more details about what's going on. You can also speak to tavern patrons and see if you can get more information.
Since Fritz believes that tavern patrons are more likely to believe that the thing is haunted, she's not going to have anything to do with that. And she does have a passing acquaintance with somebody else on the council. She figures it might be better to make her way to Edda sooner rather than later. But stopping by their current quarters, just to make sure that, they have all the equipment that they need.
What is everybody else up to?
I feel like I'm going to probably ask around a little bit, just because the thing about ghost stories is that while I've heard enough of, had enough friends who were involved in war to know that ghosts are a thing to kind of worry about a little bit. It's still a question of, at least half the ghost stories you hear are just going to be that, stories. So there are certain signs apparently you're supposed to look for. I haven't encountered enough to really know for sure which is which yet, but it's good to get the experience. So I think I'm going to go around and sort of ask anybody, just any folks that I know that might be around, sort of if they've heard anything about this business.
All right. So you ask around, and eventually you find a custodian named Thaddeus, who's happy to tell you all about his own experience in that particular area or near that particular area of the station, in exchange for a few drinks.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You can spot him some alcohol.
Yeah. So, encouraged by your interest, because it seems most people have just been kind of brushing him off, and by the alcohol, he tells you that he was making his rounds, and he was hoping to maybe find some valuables, or perhaps some liquid valuables that may have been left behind when it was closed down. And he started exploring a bit, only to hear ghastly shrieks and wails and sounds coming from down the corridors. And he decided to hightail it out of there pretty quick before he ran into something that he was not prepared to deal with a mop and a bucket.
I'm going to ask if he, do you have any sort of, can you describe what it sounded like? The ghosts, or the shrieks, the wails, what sort of person it sounded like? Anything?
It was the sound of tortured people crying out in agony, coming up the stairs from maybe a storage area or a brig or something, and then there were the sounds of small legs, like swarms of rats or something, more than usual. You know, you see a rat here and there on the station, and we take care of that, but there was a lot of them.
Is there anything else you can remember you might want to mention about this? You wouldn't think we'd have that big a rat problem necessarily. Unless you know something I don't.
No, we don't usually have that much of a problem. That's why I was so freaked out.
Okay.
It seemed like something was controlling it. The lights were flickering. It was real spooky.
Okay. Thanks for talking about it. And I'll go ahead and I'll set down one more monetary unit, whatever it is we use, and say...
Yeah, we use credits on the station, which are about worth what would be 1 gold piece in your typical fantasy D&D.
Okay. So I just let them sort of, basically just enough for him to get one more drink, and then I'm gonna head out.
Sure.
Leave him to it.
He thanks you, and he'll keep telling the tall tale to whomever might happen to listen. You may notice that it seems to grow with each retelling, and the bigger his audience gets. But it's usually just like the newcomers that are stopping to listen to him. Those station veterans seem to have heard the story before.
So Narita is in the tavern, and she's big and awkward, being taller than many humans, also wearing her aqua suit. So she kind of clambers and sits down at a table and then listens for a while and kind of sees what's going on, not really knowing how to get in touch with the underbelly, so to speak. But as she's sitting there, she hears someone kind of getting more and more boisterous and telling these tales of things going on, and she starts to wonder. So she awkwardly clambers over to her table closer, takes a better listen, hears the story, and decides, well, maybe this is where things are, because either there's something interesting that's being hidden here by people who would know the information she wants, or there are actually ghosts, which seem interesting, so she wants to find that out. So she would also like to join and goes off to try to find the council member to get more information.
All right. So it'll be easy enough for those of you heading to find the counselor's offices. Anybody else have anything they would like to do before we cut in that direction?
So, Rekmara is flat broke, having arrived and spent all of his money to get to Saltmaw from the Solar Citadel. So, he's probably going to be asking around or looking for work opportunities to sort of get himself going again. And so once he does see that notice for assistance with regards to these haunted areas, he will also make his way over and volunteer his services for cash.
All right. So the group of you all seem to find yourself at the council members' offices at roughly around the same time, which she is thrilled to see. And she welcomes you. She's an older woman with gray hair. She's a little bit gruff, a little rough around the edges. And she welcomes you. Are you all hear about the cleanup job?
Yeah. I am. I reckon they're here to get themselves killed, possibly, but to each their own.
I don't know about cleanup so much, but it sounds like there's definitely something that needs to get fixed down there.
Quite a bit, but no one wants to go down there because of all these ghost stories. So if the sooner we get those rumors cleared up and find out what's really causing the problem, the better.
Do you have any idea what it might be?
Well, once upon a time, that area was used as a laboratory. It's possible that it is just malfunctioning due to neglect and disrepair. We've been working on getting everything back up and running, but as you know, resources tend to go to the military first. So we are looking for more hands to get ahead of the problem.
Have other crews been down there before?
No one has been down there in any official capacity in some time. There's maintenance crews that go there periodically, but the it's just minimal.
So are there any updated maps of that area?
Certainly, I can provide you with blueprints of the layout.
Okay.
What kind of lab was it?
It was being used by an alchemist. He paid a lot of money for people to mostly leave him alone. But he hasn't been using it for about 2 years. We just left or disappeared, and we never saw or heard from him again.
Did these stories about ghosts and such start after he left?
People used to tell tall tales about him just because he was such a recluse, and you know how people talk about things they don't understand, but it's just been more recently in the last 3 months or so that things have really started going haywire. The lights malfunctioning, sounds disturbing people.
Is there any concern about the structural integrity of that area?
I've spoken to the maw keepers and they say everything is intact. So you shouldn't have to worry about anything being open to space.
That would be a handy thing, yes.
Yeah. As far as we know, hull integrity is fine. There's no problems there. No unusual life signs or anything that we can detect.
Out of character question, really quickly. How much is being offered for this quest?
That's an excellent question. I will have to look it up.
You would like 5 units of money.
5, just 5.
5 monies, which can be
About $100.
Yeah, there we go.
He is probably prepared to offer you each 100 credits.
As an aside to Narita, is 100 credits a lot of money?
I'm actually not sure how much that is here.
Lasness leans over and in a very loud sotto voce, it's pretty good. We should say yes.
Yes.
Well, I've got no place to be. And you'll hear Rekmara's stomach just growl a little bit.
I mean, a gig's a gig. Are we going to be the first people that you've ever thrown at this thing? It's been a while, yeah.
Yeah. For better or for worse, yes.
I have a couple of setting-related questions that may or may not be horribly relevant.
Okay.
But just to give me an idea, this station, is there a big civilian population on this station? I know that we're in a. You know, Lakshay in general is militaristic to an extent.
Right. Yeah. There's there's probably a fair amount of civilian population. Everybody has like mandatory time that they spend in the military, and so everybody has military training. There's a decent size security team, and a smaller corps of Marines that patrol the docking bays. And there's also, you would probably know, having been a former law enforcement officer and met some of the Marines or security detail and asked around. And having been here for a while, you'd know there's also a volunteer militia of civilians who have training that can be mustered at any given time in case of emergency.
And is it like a big population for the station, or a moderate population, or?
It's not huge. It's probably more like all together like a small town.
Okay. And I think my other question, which is kind of important just as far as just logistics are concerned, is the station, compared to the size of the station itself, is the population about the right size for the station? Is it too big for the station, or is there like a lot of room?
There's probably a fair amount of room. The station itself is massive, but most of the Likshay population is planet side, and there's just like a moderate sized town operating the actual small station itself.
Okay, cool. Thank you. I appreciate it. So he could have been up to anything and people wouldn't have seen him. It could have been months. And would not have seen a soul. Okay.
Yeah, they are a bit undermanned because most of the attention is elsewhere. So, for you,
All right, question for Edda. Did he have supplies sent in when he was there, or did he have someone come in and get supplies for him?
Yeah, when he was here, there were regular deliveries made, but it's been 20 years since he disappeared without word.
20. I thought it was just a couple. Okay.
That's a while. Do they have his name? Sorry.
I was gonna say, enough time for a few rats to show up, right?
Yeah.
Edda tells you she can look at the station records to find out what his name was, but most people just refer to him as the alchemist.
You figure that'll be one.
You know, they're kind of secretive about their names.
Yeah, you know, if he had packages delivered, they had to have had something on them.
True. I will get you that information. As I, the DM, will look it up because it's not on the front page.
Sorry. Sorry about that.
It's okay. I'll find it. I don't know if it actually gives this particular wizard a name. We can make something up. But yes, I will see if I can find a name for you eventually. For the purposes of right now, we'll say she looks up the name. But just to keep things moving along, I'll get back to you.
No worries, no worries.
Yeah. So she will, if you are keen on taking the quest, she will give you the relevant information that she still has. And any other questions? Yeah, she'll look it up in the arcane database because the Maw Keepers are very thorough with this sort of thing. It's just the humans that don't necessarily keep track of all of this. But yeah, she'll transfer blueprints and records to your data pads.
Fantastic.
And if you do find any of the wizard's valuables, finders keepers, I just want to quell these rumors so we can open up this part of the station and hopefully get it functioning again.
Yeah. Now, that in itself would be a miracle.
Preach into the choir. Is there anything else you need from me?
I think once we've got directions, it's a question of how quickly we can get there.
Otherwise, comm links are open. Feel free to ask Iota, the Maw Keeper, as well. They might have better idea than I have, or quicker access to that information.
What's Iota?
Iota is the amoeboid Maw Keeper who's in charge of maintaining the portal and all of the stuff that runs that.
Awesome. Cool.
Actually, that's a good idea. Maybe we should swing by the Maw Keepers before we go down there in case there's more technical detail that they might be able to give us, as opposed to say what the humans, what you have been able to so generously provide for us.
You're muted.
Good luck. I shouldn't be muted. Good luck and get the fuck out of my office.
Sounds like an administrator.
So, would you like to speak to the Maw Keeper before you head out?
Well, I'm certainly going to head that way if anybody wants to come with me.
Excuse me.
I'll join. I would like more information as well.
Lastness says, if it's good for one, it's good for three. And she introduces herself to the Nereid, the Nautilid, and the gnome.
Introductions to Narita and Lastness as well.
Take long to find the Maw Keeper. They're pretty much centralized to the station. And when you reach that particular area of the station, you see there's a couple of vaguely humanoid shaped single cell gelatinous organisms who are at work. One seems to be tinkering with various mechanical parts, and the other one is working over an arcane database. One's like very brightly sort of like teal blue, sort of galaxy swirl colored, and is chattering away, while the other one is a sort of a more subdued yellow, green, gold color, and sort of just going, mostly just ignoring the prattle. When you come in, the chattery one looks up and greets you all very gregariously. Oh, hi. Do you have a question? Can I help you? I'm Epsilon, by the way.
Epsilon. Very good to meet you. I'm Klangswell Nunu Fritz Holtzbottom Thunderstruck. You may have heard of me in some form or fashion at a recent visit, but I am back in the area to stay now and am learning a little bit more about some of the further reaches of the station, some places that haven't necessarily been fully functional in some time.
Oh, yes. Yes, welcome back. We have records of your travels. Welcome back. You're here to investigate the ghost stories, then, are you? That's fascinating.
There were ghost stories associated with it, yes. I'm mostly interested in the proper functioning of that area.
Excellent. And the other one that's still, without looking up from the terminal, says ghost stories. That is most illogical.
Fritz grins, but doesn't say anything else at this point.
So what do you want to know?
I'll look over at Lasness and Narita to see if they want to step in here at any point.
So we're making our way into the sewers to fix the problem that has everybody astir, whether or not it's a ghost or not. I mean, the verse is just huge, and we have to be aware of everything to protect everyone from the horrors of the void. I forgot where I was going with this question. Do you know anything in particular about the alchemist? Anything at all? Was he specifically doing something in those caverns? I mean, he paid people off.
Well, it was an old laboratory. People say that he was trying to figure out a way to turn things into gold. People always say that about alchemists, and that's impossible.
Well, technically speaking, but no, not time or place.
How preposterous. He's chasing after money. Of all the things that he could go for.
I can give you his shipping records, but they're very old.
We'll take them.
Old information sometimes has its value.
This is true. We have a lot of old information, even older than the alchemist. We've been studying the galaxy for a very long time.
I imagine you have quite a store of information, probably too much for us to access or think about at this point. Would it be possible for you to transfer some of that information or allow us access through our data pads so that we'll be able to look at it while we are en route and in the area?
Certainly. Transferring information about the alchemist laboratory now.
Thank you very much.
Rita kind of pipes up and wonders, were there any rumors about the alchemist at the time of his disappearance?
Many. He wasn't very well liked by the other humans.
Was there anyone in particular that he had any issues with?
Nobody who's still on board the station. People used to go down to the laboratory hoping to find the alchemist's gold, but they always came up empty-handed, and they always came back telling strange tales.
Any of them in particular stick out in your mind?
Oh, no, they're all just variations on the same theme. We
What
would
was the theme?
know if there were any life signs down there. And there aren't any humanoid ones.
No humanoid others? Or just rats?
There may be small rodents or insects down there. It needs better maintenance, but it's not entirely beyond the question that some of the sensors may be malfunctioning in certain areas.
So getting sensors online sounds like it would be a priority item.
Correct.
Fritz pulls out a little notebook and starts jotting down things to be fixed.
Narita looks over and thinks, "Oh, that's fairly quaint writing. It's been some time since I've seen someone write like this."
If you can find out what's causing the lighting to malfunction, that would be most appreciated. I could fix it myself, but Iota keeps me very busy.
Noted. So if the lighting is not functioning down there, it sounds like it's pretty dark. We should probably take our own sources of illumination.
It certainly wouldn't hurt to be prepared. It seems to be somewhat intermittent, brownouts, that sort of thing. They function, but not consistently well. There doesn't seem to be any problem with life support, however.
Do you guys think we got all the information we could?
I think between the information we've been able to gather right now, plus what's been downloaded to our systems, we probably have enough to go on for a little while. I'm just trying to think if there's any other equipment that we might need before we head down. I'm going to bring along my stuff.
All right. So you all take a few moments to gather your gear and equip yourselves. The Maw Keepers will make sure you all have life suits just in case. And yeah, this seems like a good place to go ahead and take our break.
Okay.
And we will come back to head down to the laboratory.
Excellent. I am very excited to get into this. All right, folks, we're going to take a quick break. We will be back shortly. We have returned. And things are happening, possibly.
Right. So, the party has been hired by the station council to investigate the malfunctions and potential haunting of an old alchemist lab in a little used part of the station. And they have all taken a moment to gather their equipment and board the lift to take you as far as it can take you, at least to the appropriate sector. You'll have to actually walk, but not very far, to the appropriate laboratory once you get to the correct level of the station.
Cool.
So, does anybody have any business they would like to cover on the ride down, or shall we dive in?
Did we describe what we? I mean, we I know we have the portrait images, but did we describe anything else about appearance and weapons type deal, or we might have, but my memory is failing me.
I don't think
we
there was
didn't.
a lot of detail.
This might be a good opportunity to
Yeah.
at least, run through what people can see we seem to be carrying.
Yeah. So I'll go ahead and just start. Basically, it's aside from what you see in the on the overlay. Basically, Cole has a long sort of blue. It's not exactly a military coat. It looks like it's an old coat from his days in law enforcement. So it's got a little bit of a mesh in it, so it's like sort of heavy coat. And you can see probably under it he has a gun belt that he can draw his blaster from fairly quickly. His coat has a lot of pockets, so he keeps most of the things in it. And let's see, was there anything else of significance I wanted to say? Just basically, he's about like, I hear things now. He's about 6'2". He has sort of sandy blonde hair, and something that looks like a perpetual scowl on his face. Basically, he seems suspicious of everyone and everything, because that is his way.
I guess if we're going clockwise, then I can run through real quickly.
Go for it.
Fritz is a gnome of good height, that is 3 feet 4 inches tall or so, and is carrying a sort of utility backpack that seems to have a couple of different sets of things hanging off it. It looks as though it's just jammed full of stuff, and it's got little pins and little doodads on it and things. And she's wearing sort of grayish work coveralls, but obviously a densely woven shirt underneath part of that as well. She does have a small sidearm phaser, but it's of the type that everybody knows is like a non-lethal. It's the kind of thing that you use to, stun rats with and that sort of stuff. And she does have a tendency to carry around a fairly large heavy-headed wrench that's in the loops of her pants pockets, if you will, on her pants. Other than that, she just tends to have a lot of pockets on her clothing and on her backpack, and there always seems to be, stuff in her pockets.
All right. Rachmara.
So, Rekmara is stands at about 5'2". He seems to have a very slight build, and so this outfit that he wears appears to be an environmental suit. So it's a little bit baggy. It's black, and it has silver and gold trims on it. as an Aviara, he does have the head of a bird, and his features is that of an eagle with dark brown feathers. But the like head of his head feathers, they actually stand upright, and they're white with frosted brown to it. So he's takes after the Filipino eagle, but he's got a bandolier, which appears to have healing medical kit installed on it, as well as an explorer's pack. And as far as the weapon goes, the only thing that he seems to be carrying is an Aviara sun staff, which is both a quarterstaff and a blaster.
All right. Lasness.
Could I actually hold my turn to the last person, please?
Sure. So that brings us around to Narita.
So Narita is 7'4" tall, which is actually pretty moderate height for a nautilid. She's covered in really fine sort of green scales, long green hair, just sort of tall and lanky, but as a nautilid, she doesn't breathe so well kind of out and about, and so she's actually wearing an aqua suit. So she's wearing a sort of silver-ish suit. It's like an old-timey diving suit, a little bit loose and lanky. The head portion of it, instead of having just the sort of front screen, is actually covered like a glass-like material 3/4 of the way around, so she has pretty good peripheral vision. As well, she's wearing a pair of gloves over the suit and has a belt with a small dagger in it. And she has a backpack with a few other small items.
So Lasness is actually just wearing a basic casual outfit, which is pretty much just what looks like a futuristic bodysuit that has some armor to it. But she's not carrying her weapon at the moment. In fact, it just seems that she's just got her pack on her back. And she is giving one heck of a side eye to Cole at the moment.
Cole just basically has got his arms crossed and sort of leaning up against the side of the elevator. One tiny thing I did forget to mention in his description: he does have kind of a pack sort of slung, and he does have what looks like just under it that looks like a longer weapon that he's sort of slung over his back, and sort of more of a tube looking thing. And he's just basically going to he's just going to sort of lean and when we get down to about like 3/4 of the way down, after it, he's just going to just kind of cock his head and say, "What?"
And Lasness is going to look at Cole and say, "You're Hayden, the Hayden, right?"
Well, that's what it says on my birth certificate.
So that makes you the one that has been taking all of the jobs across this maw, huh?
You gotta work.
Sure, you've gotta work, she says, and then suddenly she strikes a hyper serialized pose and spins around, and her whole outfit suddenly changes, and similar to the picture, you now see that she has pauldrons on her short little 4'1" frame, and she is now wielding a ridiculously, in terms of her size, rocket hammer. And this is all based on dwarven, star dwarven nanotechnology. It's all been there. The mass was just kind of wiggled around. And she sets the rocket hammer down with a bit of a thump, and she says, "Sharing is caring."
You ever thought about, and actually I'll just sort of lean back and say, neat trick. Ever thought about doing it when you're asking for these jobs? Might have improved your chances a bit.
You can't get a job if somebody already registers for them.
Sort of
You're
shrug.
developing a reputation.
Well, you live through this, maybe you can get one too.
Her best response is that she can just stick out her tongue at him. Kind of flounce a bit.
He just kind of nods and just sort of he does not seem impressed. At least he doesn't show any signs of it. But he'll just sort of turn and he'll look, sort of glance, continue leaning, basically.
That's fascinating. Do all dwarves morph like you do?
Well, it's only those who have truly served the matriarch and the patriarch, I guess. They're the ones that get the secrets of our nanotechnology. It would make your head spin, but it is just such an honor to be a star pilot.
So Fritz has been sitting here sketching some sort of side details of the envirosuit kind of thing that Narita has been wearing when Lasnus mentions nanotechnology, like the little virtual antennae just kind of go whoop. Let's hear what's going on over there too, and makes a couple additional side notes, and we'll keep an ear out for additional details.
Oh,
So you serve a matriarch and a patriarch? Sounds very cultish.
Let me talk to you about your star dwarf and save. I can't even get the rest of it out.
Narita kind of overhears this and looks at Rekmara and says, "Don't you serve some sort of deity?"
If you're referring to the sun above, I do not, in fact. I happen to be a druid initiate. It's kind of the reason why I'm here instead of the Solar Citadel.
Interesting. Is that a choice many of your people make?
Very few.
Huh.
And how about you? You seem to be a long way away from water.
Given that Poseidon's been gone for a while, most of us are pretty far from water.
I don't know. I don't know when was the last time that I saw a gnome in this quadrant.
Right around the corner. We're, I was going to say not hard to miss, but we are actually hard to miss.
Is that a height joke?
Not from me.
Yeah, it went right over my head.
Almost
I
nothing
see
I
they
say
have
goes over
puns
anyone's
here.
head.
I see they have puns here as well. I am not amused.
You learn to live through it.
This is not an amusing crowd. Maybe we can change that.
You see Rekmara just start pressing the button faster on the elevator.
You know that pressing the button on the elevator does not actually increase the velocity?
He just keeps pressing it even faster.
Pressing that's only going to make it worse.
finds its way through the bones of the long dead creature whose massive skeleton houses the moth station, offering a view of the expansive starfield outside the windows. The door chimes open with a hiss of stale air. Lighting panels flicker intermittently as you exit the lift and into the abandoned research wing. And at the end of the hallway, you can see from here a metal security door stands at the end of the corridor, and its maintenance panel is hanging partway off its hinges.
Not a problem. So let's check out the door itself and make sure it isn't like already jammed open before we try to unlock it if it's not locked.
No, the doors are closed.
Mm-hmm. Is there power to the panel?
There appears to be power to the panel. It's just, it looks like maybe somebody has come down here and monkeyed with it.
Yep. Not a surprising thing. 1 second. I'm looking for one piece of information. So obviously, I'm going to take a crack at both understanding looking at the panel in order to understand the technology that's used, just the circuits and things, and then make an attempt at fixing it, bypassing it, short-circuiting it, whatever. Ideally fixing it, but I don't think I'm going to have the time to do that right now. I'll put it on my list of things to fix on the way out.
All right. So as you go in to investigate the panel to the security doors, I would like to call for the first roll of the campaign.
Woo!
I would like you to make a wisdom saving throw.
Wisdom saving throw against magic or not?
It is. It might be magic.
Because I get an advantage on magic.
Yeah, well, I'll say go ahead.
Okay,
and
we'll
make
find
it with
out
advantage.
momentarily. You said wisdom, right?
Yes.
So it's not great. What shall I give you my roll and my plus, or how would you?
If whatever bonus you would have to a saving throw, go
Yep.
ahead and add that to the number on the die.
Okay, and then just give you the number.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just give me the total.
The number is 16.
All right. That is a success. All you needed was a 12. So as you were investigating this panel, you notice that within the hollow space in the wall where this panel has been monkeyed with and partially removed, there are you can hear and maybe catch a glimpse of some very small furry they sort of look like squirrels with a big fluffy long tail, but they've got 4 like rabbit ears.
I step back and grab my wrench, and it's just like rats, but with rabbit ears.
Rekmara is going to take a closer look at it. Huh. Well, I'm from a desert climate. You certainly don't have these.
So as you're Rekmara, as you were looking into the space, I would also like you to make a wisdom save.
I get a +6 on mine because
You're crazy.
I rolled a 4, so 6 is 10.
You look in there and you think you see something, and then there's nothing there.
Oh, little buggers are rather fast. And Rekmara's going to look around for something a bit flammable. I guess,
Okay.
like a stick or something.
Okay. You do find there's a discarded mop in the corner.
Oh, okay. You see, he picks up the mop and he breaks it in half, and he's going to use Druidcraft to light the one end of it and use that as his light.
Okay. Now, is this an actual flame or?
Yeah. So basically, Druidcraft allows you to light. It's a cantrip, and it lets you light a small fire.
Okay.
And so he's going to do that.
So, you light the fire, and since you are on board a space station, there is an alarm that goes off and sprinklers that come on, and everyone gets briefly spattered with raindrops before the alarm sort of goes meow, and the sprinkler system also fizzles out.
Good test.
Thank you.
Just punches up the data pad and just slides the brightness indicator all the way up to the top, and it's like, maybe this would do it? Fritz is going to go back toward the panel hole, holding the wrench in a fairly offensive manner. It's just like, can you get close enough to see if this thing is still there? And if it is,
yeah.
I'm going to try to like whack it so it gets out of the way, or I can scare them off.
You can certainly that. You can see that the creature is in there kind of chewing on some of the wiring, and you can bang the wrench around and
Yes.
easily chase it off.
Yeah. Does it actually take off when I bang and make some noise?
Let's see. Just for fun, I'm gonna have you roll for intimidation to see how scared it is.
I am the least intimidating creature in the universe, okay?
Who knows? You're still bigger than this guy.
And I have a wrench and a huge intellect, but that's not going to make a difference to
You
this.
do.
So. All right, let's see what we got. A 12.
Whatever it is, it's really hungry, and it seems to not be as scared of you as it is intent on chewing on this device. So it's
It's definitely chewing on the wires, because my first instinct is to just like phaser the daylights out of it, but I don't want to fry the circuitry in the process.
Is this the thing that we were looking for? Or one of them?
It's a rat with 4 ears. I have no idea if this is a normal thing or not. Squirrel with 4 ears? Fuzzy creature, tail, ears, chewing on electrical wires. Not a smart thing.
Narita sort of wanders over to take a look.
It'll be easy enough to look over my shoulder.
So, can I see the thing?
look. Go ahead and make a wisdom save. So roll your d20 and add your wisdom saving throw bonus.
13.
That is a success. So you can see the creature. You see, and every time it takes a bite out of the terminal and the wiring, you notice a bit of a like brown out. The lights flicker
So perhaps if we offered it a little something instead to eat, perhaps it would leave the wires alone?
I don't think that's a viable long-term solution. I mean, what if we run out of food?
It's probably not the only one of these if there is an ongoing electrical problem.
But this seems to be kind of impairing the main electrical input, so we should probably deal with this one first and figure out a long-term solution later.
Sounds good. I go ahead and pull out my phaser.
I mean, they've got exterminators. They'll probably end up sending one down sooner or later.
What are we if not exterminators at this point?
Yeah, I mean, we can get this one, but like I said, long term. Like Narita said, it's long term.
Yep.
It is pretty cute, though.
Remember, the Mawkeeper said they wanted to know what was causing the electrical problems. If we answer that question, that's one.
Should we take a scan of it with the data pad? Probably pull that up or bump that up against some sort of database and figure out what these things are exactly.
Might be easier to do if it's holding still, and Fritz is going to rather impulsively go ahead and stick the phaser in there and fire. Being the impulsive kind of character Fritz tends to be.
Love it.
Make an attack roll with your phaser.
So, because I don't know its armor class, I'm just going to give you a roll.
Yeah,
I don't
just-
have any pluses. It's not, I mean, I don't assume range is going to make any difference here because it's right there. So
Not
let's see
really.
what we get. All right. Ooh, 18.
Okay. That definitely hits it. So go ahead and roll whatever. Is there damage associated with
there's
that, or is it
damage.
just a stun?
Yeah, it's a non-lethal
Sure.
radiant damage, 2d4.
I can tell you.
Yeah, not
What
gonna-
doesn't matter what you roll because it's gonna get knocked out. It's very tiny.
it's very tiny, and it's a total of 4. So
Yes. You
Bam.
knock it out. It might be a little bit singed.
That's
It's
all right.
definitely been stunned.
I'll go ahead and reach in and grab it and pull it
Okay.
out so we can take a look at it.
All right. So you scan it with your data pad.
Sure.
All right. This is a thwirl. You are some of the few people to ever actually see one of these things.
Huh.
Because they are, they have psychic camouflage. They just have a sort of psychic field around them that makes people just not notice them. Which may be why when Rekmara looked in there, he saw nothing while the other two of you saw that it was definitely still there. And they feed on magical energy and electronic devices.
Cute. I hand the throw over to somebody else and sort of dive headfirst back into the panel to see what I can do to fix it.
All right. Now that it is not being chewed on, you were able to fix it and to get the doors open.
All right.
So Rekmara is holding up this thwirl, and
Hey, that Pokemon.
Yeah.
he's just going to hold it up, and he's going to study it very carefully for future reference.
Okay.
And then, is there some sort of box anywhere?
There's another half of a mop.
I'm not going to stab it.
You could tie it up with the mop. I don't know.
Sure. You can probably find a supply closet near where the mop was abandoned and find some sort of box or crate to stick it in.
Yeah. There should be something. Thaddeus had to keep his equipment somewhere down here.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's gonna rifle around the supply closet. Is there like a toolbox with a latch or something?
Yeah, you can find a toolbox and empty it out.
Yeah. He'll just toss the thwirl in there and then latch it shut. And I guess he'll just carry the toolbox with him for a while.
Okay.
Can that thing breathe in there?
Find out.
Well, I suppose we should drill a hole in it.
Suppose you're going to want to drill for that, huh?
Don't you have one?
I reach in my pocket, in my backpack.
Did you find any
He'll
of
pull,
Thad's?
he'll pull the he'll pull the thwirl out of the toolbox
As
before
I
she
start
starts
to drill
drilling.
the holes while it's still in there, you stop me. And okay.
Yeah.
Did you find any of Thad's stash in there? He probably had some liquor bottles out. They're probably all empty, but you never know.
Yeah. All right. So we'll drill a few small holes in there. It's like good enough, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah. I'll toss it back in and latch it shut.
Yep. Rekmarad, the Thwirl Keeper.
They catch them all.
Shall we find some paint for you? Make it red and white.
All right. So now that you have the thwirl, the first of who knows how many contained for now, and
We're gonna need more. We need more toolboxes.
the
We don't have enough.
maintenance panel repaired and the doors open, you can now enter the laboratory if you choose to do so.
Are the lights on?
Most of the lights come on when you enter.
Okay. So I'll step in and look around. I still have my phaser out in case we get more Thwirl almost sightings.
All right. So,
I look around at all the people with like big weapons and things, and it's like, are you coming?
Send the dwarf in first. She has a big hammer.
I like that idea, she says, and she walks in, her rocket hammer at guard.
okay. So, through the security doors, there's a dusty, dirty sort of antechamber, perhaps a lobby or waiting area, receiving area of some kind. It almost has the feel of like an old-timey mansion, kind of combined with a research facility. Wizard had strange taste, but there are corridors to your left and right, and a third hallway continuing straight ahead. The walls are bare, and there's bits of broken furniture scattered about the room. And there's also on the right-hand side a lift going to the upper levels of the lab, as well as a staircase for use in emergencies or in case the lift is not functioning because of thwirls.
Well, the first thing Lastness is going to do is she's going to take the deepest breath she can and yell, "Hello!" in Dwarven.
Echoes around the large area, but you don't hear any answer.
That's okay, she still sighs happily.
Is announcing your presence in the pilot's manual.
Yes, but there's a speech with that. I didn't think I'd do it now, but I promise I'll use it when it's time to take on the biggest, nastiest baddie ever. It's going to strike fear into their heart.
Thanks for the heads up. I just take my gun out and I'm just shake my head, and sort of looking at it.
Narita sort of wonders, do you think there are other dwarves here?
Do you think there aren't any other dwarves here?
Probably not.
Well, if
I
there
guess.
are, they're going to come running now.
So I see stealth is not an option in your manual.
Stealth is for those who do not have the stalwart strength of a star dwarf to stand before their enemies and say no further.
Oh, God. That explains so much about military history. Okay. Yeah.
Well,
So
I'm so glad that we have a decoy now.
Fritz is just generally looking around and then looking at the heights of all of the people and looking at Cole and then looking at Narita and then looking at the size of the corridors. And it's like, are you guys going to be able to get through here?
Out of character question, how high up are these ceilings?
It's plenty big enough for all of you to pass through. They are quite, especially this open space is quite tall. The hallways are all like the ceilings in the hall are all 10 feet high.
Realizing, of course, this is absolutely cavernous to a sternum. Like, huge.
So I see spatial awareness is not a thing.
Spatial awareness is absolutely a thing. There's a lot of space here.
Narita probably had to duck a little bit to get through the door, but
that might have been what prompted me to ask the question. So.
Yeah. You should all be able to navigate without too much difficulty.
Okay.
So,
Which direction do we go, loud magical girl?
We could ask my rocket hammer.
hey, what?
Talk to your rocket hammer.
Does it speak?
Spin it. It doesn't speak, so, yeah.
Spin it on the floor in whichever direction it's pointing is the way you go.
Oh, God. Spin the hammer.
Yeah, spin the hammer. So she kind of like does like an over-exaggerated arch, but doesn't actually slam it on the floor. And then she just knocks it and lets it spin.
Are you going to roll to see which direction it points?
Yes. Any particular thing you want me to roll?
Go ahead and there's 3 directions you could go, or actually 4 if you go up the stairs. So go ahead and roll a d4.
Okay. 2.
Straight ahead.
The hammer says that way.
Straight ahead, huh? Real direct.
It's the Star Dwarf way.
Remember.
Yeah, that's why they're so easy to outflank. I've been going around listening at each of the exits. I have no idea if I heard anything, but so with the racket going on of the hammer spinning. But
okay, if you would like to make a perception check,
I will endeavor to make a perception check. I got a 9.
Yeah,
So
it was
not.
a little hard to hear with all the banter and.
Yeah.
There's nothing like loud or obvious. It seems like pretty empty.
Yeah.
For the most part.
To the corridor ahead of us, I look to see if there are any other panels or sensors or switches or anything into this part of the room.
So through the corridor ahead, there is a door on the right, and a door on the left about 5 feet down from there, and another door on all the way at the end of the hall, which continues taking a bend to the right.
I don't know about you, but I think first door on the right sounds like a way to start clearing some things.
Ooh, you're methodical. Lastness finally gets out. Forgetting what the word was.
Okay. So I mean, if I was kind of presuming Lessness wants to go first, but I'm going to go ahead and stand next to the first door that we're looking to check out, so that I can be ready to lean in and shoot if need be.
Questions: who's opening the door? Looking pointedly at Lastness.
So Lastness is going to come up, and she's going to clap her hands together, rub them in front of her, grip the hammer, so weighing back as far as she can.
Wait.
Step a little further back.
Can we open the door, not smash the door?
Yeah, we can.
Fritz stops and looks over her shoulder at each of the other party members and just goes,
So Lastness tries to open the door.
It is not locked. You are able
Oh.
to just open the door.
Oh.
Inside of the room, there are 2 stuffed armchairs near an artificial fireplace. The covers of both the chairs are torn and the stuffing has been pulled out. But the frames seem to be intact, not that it matters to any of you. There's a broken table lying on the floor near the north wall.
the artificial fireplace working?
Would you like to try to turn it on?
Sure.
Okay.
Do I need to roll, or are you just going to tell me that it blows up in my
You
face?
can go ahead and make a perception check to figure out if it, how to turn it, where the switch is to turn it on, and whether or not it will respond.
12.
12. You do. You very quickly find the, not only do you find the switch, but you also realize that there's a loose stone in the sort of mantle piece around it.
Oh.
And there's a hidden compartment.
Cool. Looks like there's a hidden compartment here.
Yes. In addition to that, the fireplace, I will say, is not currently functional, but there are some rodent bones scattered around the hearth.
As in half-eaten, or as in dead here
Just-
for a while?
Been here for a while. Dry bones.
Oh.
And as you continue to inspect the fireplace, I would like everyone to roll for initiative as a swarm of spiders comes out of the crevices.
No.
At least it's not bees.
Oh, wait, I think I get... Let me check this. I have advantage on initiative rolls, I forget. Alright. Okay, so I got a... What the hell did I get? Where's my initiative? Listen, I got a 15.
Get a 12.
With my bonus, I have a 6.
Ooh.
I have a 9.
Narita, what did you get? Oh, you're muted.
15, sorry.
Okay. So between you and Cole, which of you would like to go first?
So, this is a swarm of creatures, yes?
Yes, it is.
You strike me as a swarm guy.
Well, I don't know. It's hard to shoot a swarm.
With
But
a
I do
rifle?
have a... But I do have another weapon that might be more appropriate. And I'm just trying to find its description real quick, just to make sure it's what I think it is. Oh, yes. So, yeah, I'm gonna... Is anyone right next to the swarm? This is an important question.
I probably am.
Yep, Fritz is.
Okay. So I don't know if mechanically this works the way that I'm envisioning it in my head. But heck, I'm supposed to be able to target things very precisely. So I'm going to try to aim just slightly to the right of the swarm, or rather, assuming that Fritz is on. Say if Fritz is on the left of the swarm, I'm going to try to aim slightly to the right of the swarm. So I immediately, very quickly, I have swapped weapons, and I now have this plasma launcher in my hands that I was slinging down my back, and it's assuming this is a fairly contained room. Hopefully, this won't be too destructive, but who knows? Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and try to aim it. It delivers an orb of plasma that explodes, basically, is the idea.
Okay.
I think I'm going to have another I got hit in the back of the head with a fireball story.
It's entirely possible.
Are you giving me any
Yeah,
warning
I
that
am
you're
going
doing
to...
this?
As I'm pulling this out, I'm just going to say, Fritz, go to your left. And I'm going to attempt to fire this thing.
Okay.
As soon as I figure out what my various... No, there are my bonuses. Okay, here we go. Oh, that's wonderful. So that comes to a 10.
Okay. In attempting to miss the gnome, you also entirely miss the swarm of spiders.
Doe.
Thank you for not hitting me. I guess.
Damn it.
Did it just hit the wall?
Yep.
Okay.
Do the sprinklers go off again?
They do.
Maybe that'll disturb the spiders enough that they'll go away. Who knows?
Are we each going to have an action at some point that
Yes.
will turn the sprinklers on? Okay, just making sure.
Well, perhaps. Yeah. We'll see. I mean, they're on for now.
So that's my turn. I'm done.
They don't seem to be working very well, so it's just kind of a spatter. So yes, Cole, is there anything else you would like to do on your turn?
Just try to move into a better position. Maybe put some
Okay.
furniture between myself and the spiders so
Sure.
that I can fire over, that kind of thing.
There's plenty of furniture that will provide you at least partial cover and or brace for your rifle. So then next up is Narita.
All right. So she takes a look at all of the spiders, kind of puts out her hands and gets ready. So she has some ballistic gloves. So she'll try to take a swipe at the nearest spiders.
Okay. So roll your d20 and add whatever attack bonus you get with your ballistic gloves.
I have no idea. Let's see. Are you looking it up? Should I look it up quickly?
I am. I'm trying to call up your character sheet so I can take a look as well. Ballistic gloves. It says attack 1.
Ooh.
Is it? Let me look
It's
up
a lot.
ballistic gloves in dark matter here.
I did. It does 1d4 force damage.
Sure.
It's a fist weapon and it's light, so it uses dexterity, instead of.
Okay. So.
That's right.
Yeah, and your dex has no bonus. It's a 10. So just give me a straight roll.
With a D4.
No.
Roll your d20 to hit. And
All
then
right.
if you hit,
12?
we'll roll the d4 for damage. 12?
Yep.
12 hits.
Ooh.
So roll the d4 for some damage.
Is that right? Yeah, again, sorry. 3?
All right.
I have a million die out right now.
Is there anything else that you would like to do on your turn?
And she'll move back to behind one of the chairs
Okay,
and out of the way of the spiders.
cool. All right, Fritz, you're up next.
Since I didn't say I was switching, I still have the phaser out, non-lethal, but I have a fighting chance, I guess.
Okay.
Blast whichever spider is standing closest to me. I'm not going to have the presence of mind to actually move away from where I am.
Right.
So I'm just in the middle of everything.
These are just like normal sized spiders, so you're just firing into the group of them.
Yeah, I'm just firing into where they're pouring out of.
Sure.
So.
Sure.
All right. So we will. Why can I not do this? Why am I failing at how to do this? Okay. Ooh, natural 20.
Oh, excellent.
I would show you. I don't think you can see. Not that it means anything for tiny spiders, but
it might. You'll zap a few more of them.
Yeah. Shall I go ahead and roll damage to let you know what?
Yes.
2 plus 1, 3. Woo.
Okay. So, double the dice roll for the critical hit, and then add the modifier. So, 4, 5. So you took out a few more of them.
I'm good with that. I unfortunately am also probably still standing right next to all of them as they pour out, though.
Yes.
Yeah.
You are. And there's still quite a few of them. The swarm has shrunk a bit, but the good news is Lasnus gets to go before they get to attack you.
Okay, so is it what I want to do is I just want to hit my rocket hammer against the wall to kind of like make the wall collapse where they're all piling out of?
Okay.
Okay. Would that be with my strength then?
Yep.
Okay. 13 and 2 is 15.
Yes, you hit the wall. Roll some damage.
Okay. So once a turn, I can engage my thrusters to deal an additional 1d4 bludgeoning. So I'm going to roll my d10 and then I'll roll for the other. That's okay.
Uh-huh.
Just rocket hammering the spiders.
Yep.
3 and 3. 6 points of
Alright.
damage.
All right. You succeed in crumbling a portion of the stone decorative mantle around the fireplace, and probably squish a few of the spiders in the process. All right. And then, is there anything else you want to do? You want to move, or are you just gonna
I
stay
think
where you are?
I think I spent most of my movement just getting to the
Just
wall,
to get
though.
there. Okay.
Yeah, because I don't think I was
Um,
by the wall when all
that's
this
fair.
began.
All right. So then the spiders go. And so it's just you and Fritz. And Fritz, you disturbed the spiders first, so they are going to attempt
Yeah.
to bite you. And that is a total of 22 to hit.
I think they got me.
Yeah, I think they did.
Oof.
But I did not take a plasma bolt to the back of the head.
You did not. You take 4 points of piercing damage.
Ouch. And ouch, I say again.
Oh, sorry. Half of the swarm has already been squished. You only take 2 points of piercing damage.
Oh, so just ouch, not ouch again.
Just ouch.
Okay. First damage.
And that brings us to Rekmara.
So Rekmara just curls his hand, and he's going to cast his a cantrip, Sacred Flame, which is something that all Aviara can do.
Yeah.
So he just points it out and just goes, Hadouken.
And light comes down from the ceiling onto the swarm of spiders, and that's a dexterity save for them, correct?
Yes.
So
And
what is your DC?
it's 14.
They fail. They do not move out of the way in time.
So it's a 1d8. And I rolled a 4.
All right. So out of the approximately 22 spiders that came pouring out of this fireplace, there are approximately 4 of them left. And they just sort of scatter in various directions.
Do you think we went a little too hard against the metaphorical pink guys?
I'm rubbing my 2 points of damage puncture wounds on my arm, going, I don't know about you. I was using non-lethal force, and I'm looking at the remains of the fireplace.
That reminds me, I should clean my hammer off.
And I lined through fix the fireplace on my list of things to do, since that's going to be not a thing that I can fix here.
And knows what those things might have been carrying.
That's what I'm afraid of.
Yeah.
That's all right. Rekmara is going to break out his first aid kit and attend to the puncture wounds.
Oh. That's handy, thank you.
As you are getting your spider bites bandaged, Fritz, you do notice that a small wooden box has fallen out of the compartment that you discovered in the fireplace.
The now crushed fireplace.
Yeah. No, the crushing of the fireplace opened it so that it fell out rather than my having to reach back into potentially spider-infested holes to pull it out. So
You're welcome.
thank you.
I think.
Check the box cursorily just to see if there's anything that's obviously technological. But if it's a wooden box, Fritz is going to believe that this is just a box.
It is just a box.
And Rekmara's standing right there, so I'm going to open the box.
Inside the box, there are someone's collection of old-timey copper coins, about 30 of them.
Okay.
And 2 small pouches of alchemical powders that are probably worth about 5 credits each.
Is that physical money? How archaic.
Definitely interesting collectible things. Put everything into the box and shove the whole box into my backpack.
Yeah, I mean, you find there's a market for them. You find the right collector. Otherwise, you can get maybe, hundredth of a credit each, something like that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I understand they make good parts. They are copper.
They do. They could indeed, if you have enough of them, be melted down to make something.
I do that. It's all parts.
But now you have a box of pennies.
Hey.
And some other stuff to be
I-
identified.
2 pouches of unidentified something, 30 small pieces of copper, and a box.
And a box.
I'm on a roll.
Yeah. So, would you like to investigate another room?
Yeah, I'm assuming that there are no additional exits out of this particular
Nope,
space.
just the one door.
Back into the corridor.
Yep.
I'm good with going out and continuing on.
That means Lastness starts marching out, hoisting her rocket hammer over her shoulder.
I'm waiting for
I'll get the next door.
Can you open it? She shouts down the corridor.
With or without the hammer?
With your hand.
You can always try the button, might be novel.
She huffs a little sigh and tests the first door and tries to open it with her hand.
Yes. You, the door opens. Without
Never
any
get to
trouble.
hit anything with a rocket hammer except for spiders.
There's another broken table. Some windows looking out into space. There's a broken chair in between them, and a bunch of broken dishes in the northwest corner. It was possibly a dining area, and nothing else of note.
There's no cabinets against the wall or like a banquet or something? A
No.
banquet? Okay. This one's a bust.
All right, I guess we'll just move on.
Yeah. Are there like a bunch of exits from this room, or just the same one way?
Just the one that you came in.
Oh, that we came in. Okay.
Yeah.
done the door on the right and then the door on the left. So if I'm remembering correctly, we go down the hallway, and then there's another door in this hallway, but it's bending to the right. Is that correct?
There's another door. It's just straight at the end of the
straight
hall.
at the
So
end.
it would be like
Oh, I see.
directly across from the big entrance that you
Yeah.
came in, all the way at the end of this hall, there's a door.
Right.
But the hallway does continue to the right. And now
Okay.
that you're down here, it looks like it just looks out to a view window.
Okay.
I'd like to take a moment to use my divine sense to kind of just like get a feel of this corridor, if that's okay.
Okay.
I don't think I really need to roll anything. I think I just need to.
It just happens, and there's a certain radius on that.
60 feet.
60 feet, and that lets you sense fae, fiends, undead.
I can feel. You want me to just read the text?
Sure.
The presence of strong evil registers on your senses like a noxious odor, and powerful good rings like heavenly music in your ears. As an action, you can open your awareness to detect such forces. Until the end of your next turn, you know the location of any celestial fiend or undead within 60 feet of you that is not behind total cover.
Okay. You don't sense anything within 60 feet of you.
Okay.
So far, all clear.
So she takes a moment and kind of like clasps her hands in front of her and like she's praying or something. And then she stops and then she looks at everybody and says, I don't feel anything evil per se, but I don't feel anything good either. So that narrows it down.
So it's
What
just like the
makes a
rest of
creature? Well, you could lead the way.
Okay. She marches off to the door at the end of the corridor.
Right behind her this time.
All right, so I'm going to try to open the door.
Okay. So, through this door, is a kitchen. It's dirty, dusty, has not been cleaned or maintained. There's patches of gray mold and cobwebs. Just inside the door to the right, there is another door. There are to the southwest, there's some cooking equipment, a discolored sink, there's a cabinet on the wall about 5 feet up from the floor, and against the far wall, like all the way across the room from the entrance, is a flight of stairs going up.
Check to see if any of the cooking equipment actually is still powered or has any, is still functional at all.
You go to power it on, and it sort of flickers but doesn't respond.
Okay. Fritz makes a note. Kitchen needs fixing.
Out of character question, do you guys want to go up the stairs or do you want to try to clear this area down here first?
You mean go back to the main room, left-hand door that's on this level?
There's a door in the kitchen too.
Yeah.
Kitchen, there's... I would think definitely the door in the kitchen. We have to think about whether we want to go up after that.
See where that goes.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm a fan of clearing levels before going up, but at the same time, I'm not wedded to the idea. So, how are we going to do it?
Well, part of this is to find answers. I think being thorough might be the best way to go, and clearing the floors as best we can.
Yep.
An agreement here.
Okay.
Are we going to make you open all the doors now, Lastness?
I'm fine with that, as long as I'm not at 1 hit point. So yeah, I think it could go without saying that I'm point at each door.
Yeah.
These are at each door, and I will be keeping half an eye on Cole, making sure that I'm not between him and whatever is going on.
Yeah, I generally try to be second if I can, as far as it goes. So I usually try to stand to a side of the door.
If you're close to me, you can fire over my head, not at my head.
That's fair. That's fair. That's a good point. All right.
Rita's kind of too big
Don't
to
jump
be
out.
up front, so she's
Yeah.
kind of in the back.
That's a good point, too. Okay.
All right, so why don't we go clean the one door that we have not opened on this floor, and then we'll come back to the kitchen.
Go back to the main room.
I guess, yeah,
and
just
then
kind
go
of
back to the
finish
kitchen?
that up.
Okay.
Did we
Yeah,
did we look through the door leading out of the kitchen?
Not yet.
I think it's a pantry. I'm not sure it goes anywhere else. It might be worth looking now,
Yeah.
We can go ahead and open it up, take a look.
just to make sure.
Okay. All right, so I'll open this door in the kitchen now. We'll do that.
It does seem like a storage or kind of a boiler room. There's a big copper cask that's split and discolored and empty. There's heaps of crockery and other broken dishes, and there is a stair going down, possibly into another storage area.
So I'm actually going to make a quick retro tech roll on the boiler equipment that's there.
Mm-hmm.
So I get to make an intelligence technology check, but I can do twice my proficiency bonus on that.
Okay.
So. Oh, and it's a good thing I did because I rolled a 2, so it's a total of a 10.
Okay. You can easily tell from inspecting the cask and the staining on its interior. It was definitely used to boil water.
Mm-hmm.
It's not functioning anymore.
Yeah, kind of figured it was not functioning. Can't tell much more than that, though. So okay.
Yeah.
Do we want to take a peek down now, or do we want to go back, stay on this level, and then come? Since this goes both up and down from the kitchen, come back to here later.
Let's finish the level.
Come back here.
Okay. So we all troop down to the main room again?
Mm-hmm.
And then go to the door on the left, which was on this level, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Have been into all of the doors that were down this part of the hallway. So back out into the main sort of foyer, there's a hallway going down to the left that also has a door on the left and a door on the right and a door at the end.
Okay. Left or right first?
1 second. Lastness says as she hits her rocket hammer against the wall just a little bit to kind of like take a chip out of the lintel from the door that they just came.
Oh,
Okay.
so you know which door it is?
Mm-hmm. Do you want me to roll for that, Station Master?
No.
Okay.
We'll just say that happens. It's not really a big deal. So you're able to mark where you have been.
Yes.
And I will mark those rooms on my notes.
And from the foyer, we only had the straight ahead passage and the left passage and the stairs. Those were the only
Stairs and the lift on the right. Yeah.
stairs and lift.
Yes.
True. Okay.
Well, actually, there's a hallway that goes around behind the stairs as well.
Oh, okay. So there's like a little hallway inside the foyer. Okay. Yeah, it might be worth looking in there just to make sure there's no more spiders, but
Yeah. So there are 2 doors down that hallway to the right, and then the 2 doors down the hallway to the left. Or 3 doors down the hallway to the left.
Oh, okay. We got more to look at. Cool. I think since we were already heading through the left, we can probably just keep going that way for now, and then we can come back. And when we come back through the foyer, we can check out that other hallway.
You come to a door on the left, and 5 feet down from that on the right there's another door, and then there's the door straight ahead at the end of the hall.
Lastness makes a very frustrated groan and says, "They should have sent more of us."
You could split up and each look in one room if you'd like.
4 of us?
Oh, I went to Star Sailor School. That's not a good idea.
Are you arguing with the narrator?
No.
I'm not here. Just do your thing.
Well, now that I think we've pretty much convinced Lastness not to just bust down every door, I'm okay with Lastness walking up and opening doors, or if she wants to have any of us check doors, that's fine. But if you want to hit the door, if you want to open the door on the left.
Sounds good. Let's start there.
Okay.
All right. You open the door on the left. There are broken shelves lining the walls and some toppled bookcases on the floor. Directly to your left on the inside wall is a darkened data terminal and a pile of books stacked on the floor next to it. It's some kind of library.
I immediately check out the data terminal.
Okay.
Rekmara is going to actually start combing through the books and see if there's anything of interest.
Eureka joins the search of books.
The terminal does not seem to be working.
How broken does it appear?
Well, it looks like it has been chewed on by twirls.
I love that name.
Fritz adds data terminal to the list of things to fix. And then checks to see if there are any loose pieces of the data terminal that might be recycled.
Could probably find some broken bits of stuff. And for those of you perusing the books, most of them are histories, poetry anthologies, and so forth. but there are 3 titles that sort of stand out. One is called The Magical Properties of Gemstones by the Archmage Tensor. There is another one called The Magical Properties of Herbs and Flowers, also by Tensor, and The Metaphysics of Mathematics by Nistel.
Well, I'm not really one for gemstones, but this herbalism book actually is of interest to me.
Mhm.
And he'll pick up the other 2 books.
Did someone say they had a copy of the Metaphysics of Mathematics?
Yes.
Ooh. Can you take a quick look at that?
Of course. Let's just gonna
So you start looking through the book, Fritz, and you notice inside of that book there is a piece of paper. It's just a partial sheet of paper torn off of a page and stuffed into the mathematics book, and it contains a few lines of handwritten text in common. It's a little bit smudged and discolored, but you can make out 2 words that say "beyond skeletons."
Skeletons.
You're muted.
How can I be muted?
I gotcha. We can hear you now.
Okay. Yeah, something went off. I just look and say, beyond skeletons? And I offer the piece of paper if someone wants to hold on to it, because I'm interested in looking at the book. I know that this is a clue, but the book is interesting.
Narita takes back the piece of paper and hangs on to the other book.
Well, Fritz, you have an interesting mathematics book too.
I also have Arcana and History. I'm curious to see what I can... I'm just trying to get a sense of age and importance of this particular work, if I can suss that out.
This is a book written by a famous mage. You possibly have heard the name of this mage, and so it's probably a rather old and possibly important book, either for someone in the field, or you could keep it yourself.
I have a feeling that any important books should leave here with any one of us. Maybe the thing to do would be to hang on to these books and then figure out who would make the best use of them once we get out of here, or get beyond skeletons, or whatever that means.
I think that's
That
a good
sounds
idea.
fair.
Good plan.
I mean, looking at this, it is about magic, so it might not be what I'm interested in, but you never know.
Better idea of how the science in this part of the galaxy works.
That's part of the thought, but I mean, it's magic. Really?
Yeah. Who knows?
Okay.
So, to the door across the hall next.
Before we go,
Mhm.
can Narita go to the terminal or the data station and swipe a few of the frayed wires?
Sure.
Perfect.
No roll needed. You can just grab them and pull them out because it's pretty thoroughly chewed and drained.
Okay. Thanks.
Down and to the right, correct?
Yep.
Yes. It's basically kitty corner across the hall from this one.
Okay. Same order, I think.
All right. So this room is an office. There's a large writing desk beneath a view screen / window. There's it looks like 2 of its 3 drawers have already been broken into, but there is one still intact and shut.
There's probably a reason it's intact and shut.
I should open it.
With
I
your
should
hands?
get out of the way.
Okay. How would you like to open this?
Well, they've got me trained pretty well, so I'm gonna try to just open the door.
Okay, this drawer is locked.
She turns and looks to Fritz with this big excited look on her face like this.
Let me look at it first. Now, I don't have lockpicking. I have craftsman and artisan tools, not thieving tools. But I do want to get a sense of whether or not there is anything other than a simple lock on this, if I can. If there's a roll you want me to try, I can.
Okay. It does not appear to be anything other than a lock. You're not quite sure why whoever was rifling through this room previously broke open 2 drawers and gave up on the 3rd, but it just seems to be a simple lock.
So Fritz is going to think to themselves, there's a reason that this is intact. It's either because someone got distracted by something coming in, they got killed by something that happened with the door, or it was, technologically too sound. I don't use the word magic. Technologically too sound to get into. In any of those 3 cases, there's a high likelihood of something worse than a spider trying to bite me. So I'm going to step back and look at Lastness and go, looks like you're going to have to break in.
Hit that drawer.
All right, so Lastness is going to just once again, she's gonna take her hands, slap them together.
Oh, and I'm getting way the heck out of the way.
Yes.
She's gonna take her warhammer. She's gonna hold it high overhead. Swing, swing, and she's gonna kick the door open.
The drawer.
Drawer.
You swing your hammer and then you kick the drawer open.
Sorry, yes, draw.
Okay. Make an attack roll for an unarmed strike, I guess. So that would roll the d20 and add your strength.
Yeah, that was a 6.
Oh.
Ooh.
You
Yeah.
stub your toe on that desk so hard.
She starts cursing a blue streak in Dwarven.
Does anybody else speak Dwarven?
Those are like the few words in Dwarven that I know, I think.
She is cursing up a storm.
In my suit, I can understand it. I'm just sort of nodding.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know exactly what those words mean, and it's quite colorful.
And she stomps away from the draw. She's had it with it.
All right.
Anybody else? I pull out my wrench, and before I start smashing on the drawer, it's like, anybody else?
I mean, I'd rather whatever's inside stay intact, so don't think I'm going to launch any plasma at it anytime soon.
Thank you. I'm going to wail on it with the wrench then, which is my mace.
I think you're muted there.
Yeah.
Hit that desk drawer.
Let's see what we get. Oh, let me get my...
All you have to do is hit it.
13.
Yes, you hit it.
Yay!
It breaks open.
Woo! It's weak.
It's hanging off its track.
And I peer inside.
Inside is a small vial that you would recognize as a hypo spray for healing potions.
Oh,
I'll take those.
all
And,
yours.
He'll just pocket them into his bandolier.
That's going to be good for 2 uses.
Okay. All right. Is there one more door on this level straight ahead? Was that right? On this hallway?
Yes. At the end of this hallway, there's the 3rd door.
Grumbling just a little bit, Lastness goes to open the door.
I still don't understand why you didn't just use your hammer.
I didn't want to break the desk.
I mean, it just seems so illogical.
You want to break your foot?
You have to go with what the verse tells you.
All right. So you open the door, and this is a much larger room. There is on the north wall, there is a door that leads out to an observation area. Of course, still like closed in, but the walls are made of transparent material for stargazing. And in the southeast corner, there's a pile of junk and garbage. But other than that, it seems to be mostly empty.
Rekmara, do you still have that piece of mop handle floating around?
He looks at the half-burnt mop torch. Yeah, it's right here.
Just wondering if there was any of the pest control we needed to do in that pile of garbage over there. Mind giving it a poke?
All right. And you see Rekmara unslings his staff and sticks it in to the pile and then just blasts it.
Okay. If there was anything living in there, there isn't anymore, but it appears to be just a pile of garbage.
X pile of garbage.
Yeah, it was a pile of garbage. Now it's a pile of dust.
That works. All right. Well, looks like everything on this level we've looked at, right?
I'm just going to briefly check the observation area, just to glance around, since we haven't actually been in that little room or whatever it is, just to see.
Good
Right.
point.
Well, you cross the room toward the door to the observation deck, and as you get within about 10 feet of it, a loud malevolent voice booms through the room. Welcome, fools! Welcome to your deaths! And that is where we're gonna close.
Very good.
Excellent.
Cliffhangers.
Yes.
Perfect.
Yay, death.
Ye death.
Awesome.
Thank
Awesome.
you for triggering that.
Just wanted to take a look. That's all. Awesome.
I was really hoping you would.
Yeah.
Yay! Very cool. Very cool. Well, this has been our first session. We got getting to play this on this channel. I'm very excited, and I'm very much looking forward to what we're going to encounter. I'm enjoying this group, and I think that. I think some of my favorite stuff this evening involved the hammer, pretty much. That was delightful. But we're going to go ahead and go around and do our outros. Then folks can, as we're coming down for this, folks can say again where you can find them, plug anything you want to plug, and then any favorite moments you had tonight, or anything else you want to mention. Any final thoughts about the game today? And we will start with our station master. I cannot speak. We will start with our station master, Alyssa.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Thanks for playing. I had a lot of fun watching everybody get into the characters and try to smash things, try to blow things up. It's always fun when the dice rolls take a turn for the comedy, and I am very much looking forward to next week when you get into the real meat of the mystery. So yes, everyone can find me on Twitter at Origami Shuriken, and back here next week. Other than that, everything I have going on is off stream right now, but I'm happy to have a regular stream going, and I'm excited. And also stay tuned at the credits for music.
Yes.
Yes. Absolutely. Did you get to say where folks can find you? That kind of thing?
Yes,
okay,
I did.
That's right. All right.
Right here, same time, same channel.
I'm getting senile. That's all right. And now let's continuing backwards. Let's head over to Mem.
Hey guys, I'm Mem. You can find me at twitch.tv/uncertainmemory, or on Twitter, it's uncertainmem, because somebody stole uncertain memory from me. Sad tales. But had a great time. Favorite moment is definitely kicking the desk instead of just using the hammer. But honestly, lots of fun moments. Lots of fun moments with that hammer not getting used. So having a great time, and I'm really, really excited about next week. Like, ordinarily, I am an old woman and I want to be in bed in like an hour from now, but I'm like, if everyone else wanted to go another hour, I'd go another hour. I would keep going. So having a good time. A little sad to end it for the night, but can't wait for next week.
Yay! Awesome. All right, and let's head on up to May.
Hi, everybody. I'm May. You can find me very sporadically on my Twitter. I don't really have anything else going on except for this weekly game, but I'm loving this game. I think my favorite character is Fritz. I think she's fantastic. And I think my favorite moment of the night was when she turned to everybody else like, I can't wait till next week.
That's great. Very cool. And now we'll head over to Cazimi.
So I'm Cazimi. I don't really exist anywhere except here and now. So you'll see me here next week. I think I have a Twitter and I never use it, so that's no sense trying to find me there. I absolutely love the D&D system and world. It's fun to get back to it, even in a different format. I'm really enjoying D&D in space, and I'm curious to see how this plays out more. And I have loved being a foil to Lastness's character, and I look forward to more opportunities to go. So,
Yay! Excellent. And finally, Anino.
How's it going, everyone? My name's Anino. You can find me on Twitter at Anino Gaming. I had a great fun time tonight. It was great to see all the characters together finally and start interacting with one another. Yeah, the swirl was a thing. And I think it's really funny that I spent the whole time thinking like, okay, this is the campaign. I'm not going to reference Pokemon at all. And then you guys all did it for me. So thanks for ruining that.
oh, and I'm looking forward to the song. I want to plug the song again. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah.
So let's see. Next time you can find me on Twitch will be on Welcome Party RPG on Wednesday at 8 p.m. for a D&D campaign set in a homebrew universe. That starts at 8 p.m. Eastern time again on Wednesday. So you can find out all the links to the games that I am playing on my Twitter or my website, which is also linked there in chat.
Excellent. And I also just want to credit the artist for the headshots that you're seeing on the screen right now. Those were by Jade Nebula, and she is. They can be followed on Twitter at Jade Nebula. So follow them if you wish to look at more of their art. And once again, I'm Jim Ryan. You can find me at OtherDoc on both Twitch and Twitter. My website is jimyesthatjim.com, where you can find my Geek Observation podcast and links to my various other podcasts, audio dramas, writings, and such. I've got new revamped links down below to my website, Twitter, YouTube channel, some of my fiction and games I've been working on and posting on itch, along with links to game signups and applications to join our Discord. So where can you find me? On Monday nights, I'm over on Tales from the Grim, running Deadlands. We're getting close to a climax there. They're in the town of Desperation, and they're starting to investigate things, I think, a little bit. On Wednesdays, back on this channel, we have a campaign of masks going on. We just had our session 0 last Wednesday. We are in the city of Doctropolis, and we're really excited to get the team going on a new adventure because we're already loving the stuff that we've built so far, and I definitely want to see what happens. Then, of course, on Saturday evenings on this channel, we have our Invisible Sun campaign, The Edge of Paradox. They recently recovered a missing street, and now there is a certain amount of fallout happening from that street coming back that they've been dealing with. And I am delighted to see how that continues to unfurl. And then back around to Sunday. On Sundays, this coming Sunday will be first Sunday in February, so we are starting up our one-shots again. So what you'll see first at an earlier time, this one-shots are now going to run from roughly 3 to 6. The one-shot this coming Sunday will be Fall of Magic. It's a collaborative story-building game where folks are in a world where the magic is dying. They're escorting the Magus, who is also dying, to the place where magic began. And so that's going to be coming up then. Then, of course, that evening, we will have the next episode of Dark Matter, Ghosts of Saltmaw. So come and check that out if you like this group, because I like them quite a lot. Also, signups are open for that game of Fall of Magic that I mentioned. Also, signups are still open right now for next month's mini-campaign. We're going to start doing mini-campaigns next month on Tuesdays. The mini-campaign next month is going to be Apocalypse World. That's where all the Apocalypse Engine games came from. Signups are open for that until Wednesday, this Wednesday the 29th. That's at the end of that. That's when signups get cut off, and I'll start casting that. But if you're interested in signing up for anything that I have mentioned, you can click on RPG sign up down below, or you can go to jimyesthatjim.com and click on Game Sign Up. As always, beginners are more than welcome. Well, when we hit the end card, you are actually going to get to hear a theme song that has been composed by our illustrious station master for this game. So I'm going to instead of like immediately rating, I'm going to stay on that so you can hear that. So I please stick around for that. Then at the end of the song, I'm going to go ahead and execute a raid. I believe on if they're still up, INDG, that stands for I Need Diverse Games. They've got a game of, it looks like, Lacuna going on right now, which is a game you don't actually get to see a lot, so I'm very curious about that. So if you're around with us that time, feel free to come over there and say hi to them with us. Again, that will be at the end of the song when we hit the end card. In the meantime, folks, thank you so much for watching. Take care, and I will see you next week. Farewell.
Just a little red dot swimming in a sea of stars. Got the whole damn verse spinning around you with open arms. It's a race against time that plunges you deep into the black. What are you gonna do when the void stares back? You'll never stop the revolution. Time to begin your evolution. Take a leap of faith. You gotta break the illusion. You gotta make your own solution. Take a leap of faith. The future's just a void, jump away.